Joining me now is Zohran Mamdani. He's the Democratic nominee for mayor, and he's joining us live from Chelsea. He's in the neighborhood. He should have come by here. Thanks for joining me. What is your reaction to today's news?
You know, Donald Trump and his billionaire donors can determine the actions of Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo, but they can't dictate the results of this election. And what we see today is an illustration of what so many New Yorkers are tired of. They are tired of the politics of backroom deals. They are tired of a politics that has delivered them the most expensive city in the United States of America. And in many ways, it doesn't change the focus of this campaign, which is on working class New Yorkers and ensuring they can afford the city they call home.
I mean, isn't the analysis, at least on one level, that Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo were beating Eric Adams like a drum? He was stuck in single digits, and he decided there was no path to victory, so he dropped out. He doesn't necessarily need a billionaire to tell him that, right?
Well, look, he might not be in this race, but his record is Andrew Cuomo's agenda. It's an agenda that will continue on the legacy that the Adams administration delivered of raising the rent on millions of New Yorkers, of cutting funding for their child care, for their schools, for their libraries, on slowing down the already slowest buses in the country. That is the agenda that Andrew Cuomo is running on to continue.
So when the mayor released his video, have you spoken to him? Are you thinking about reaching out to him?
I haven't spoken to the mayor today. I haven't spoken to the mayor since we saw each other at the Dominican Day Parade.
Oh, I see. Okay. Are you interested in talking with him? You know, I mean, at a minimum, if things go your way, you're going to have a transition conversation. But I'm wondering, even prior to that, if there's anything you might want to talk about with him.
You know, if Eric Adams wants to speak a little bit more about Andrew Cuomo being a liar and a snake, as he put it a few weeks ago, I'd be happy to have that conversation with him, and happy to talk to him about anything that could benefit New Yorkers.
Okay, so you've clearly moved on to what is now your principal opponent. Look, the analysis from the pundits out there is going to be that Andrew Cuomo is getting closer to the scenario that he wanted, which was a one-on-one race against you. Is that how you see this?
Look, I think Andrew Cuomo also wanted me to be his opponent in the Democratic primary, and we beat him by 13 points then. And I'm just as confident about winning this race on November 4th. And I think whether it's Andrew Cuomo, whether it's Curtis Sliwa, what New Yorkers want is a politics that actually speaks to the future of this city, to make this city one that's affordable. And they're not going to turn to a disgraced former governor to deliver that when he's been the architect of what has pushed so many New Yorkers out of these 5 boroughs.
I saw that you had something for your campaign followers just in the last few days, asking them to submit designs for some kind of a button. How did that work out, and what was that all about?
Yes. You know, one of the things that I and many New Yorkers enjoy about going to vote are the stickers that you have to show your civic pride. And we thought it was time for a refresh for the I Registered to Vote sticker. And so we received hundreds of submissions from New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and we put it to a vote, and we're going to be announcing very soon which one has won, because it's going to be a key part of how we win this election, is ensuring that the electorate reflects more of the city, to register thousands of new voters just in the way that we did in the primary, and show that each and every New Yorker's concerns will be reflected in this race and in the electorate of that same race.
Well, describe the profile of these new voters. Who are these folks that you're trying to bring into the process?
You know, it ranges, Errol. I'll tell you, by and large, these are younger voters. What we saw in the primary is that we made the 3 highest performing age group demographics all under the age of 35, something that had never been seen in New York City politics before. But we also know that there are New Yorkers who've been here for decades who are just now registering to vote. One of my good friends, Salman, he was telling me about how his 90-year-old grandfather is now for the first time looking to register to vote. You know, the other day I was at Little Flower and Sammy's Kebab House, 2 incredible coffee shops and restaurants here in Astoria. And the owner, Sammy himself, is registering to vote. We can see this time and time again with so many people who just have never seen themselves or seen their concerns reflected in the politics of their city.
Before I let you go, there's a long piece in the Wall Street Journal this weekend that tries to put not just your candidacy, but others like it, in a broader context, talking about the Occupy generation. People who came of age as the financial crisis was devastating people's mortgages and their personal family finances in 2008, all the way up through the current affordability crisis. Is that kind of, is that more or less right? Does that sound like your experience and the experience of the people who have brought you this far?
You know, I haven't read the article as yet, but what I would say is that for many New Yorkers, their experience of politics has been one of despair and disappointment. And I don't begrudge so many who look at politics as something to be avoided as opposed to something to be engaged with. And it's because of these exact kind of moments that you've mentioned, Errol, and because that for so many, whenever that engagement has come, it's come at the expense of themselves and at their families. And so what we're trying to do here is not just to run against the other candidates looking to become the next mayor of the city, but also to run with a message that politics can be different. It must be different. And in order for it to be so, we actually have to reflect the concerns of working New Yorkers who are being pushed out of this city. And that's why when we talk about freezing the rent for rent-stabilized tenants, when we talk about making the slowest buses in America fast and free, or delivering universal child care, these aren't ideas we came up with consultants. These are ideas that we came up with listening to New Yorkers and why they were falling out of love with the city that they once called home.
Okay, we're going to leave it there for now. Was your campaign manager high-fiving you and everybody else when the news came out today?
No, I can tell you it was news that dropped right as we were doing what we always focus on, which is actually speaking to working New Yorkers and fighting for their interests.
Okay, we'll see you out there. Thanks so much for joining us.